Stand by, everybody. We'll begin in 3, 2, 1.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I now call the meeting of the Code Enforcement Special Magistrate to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Welcome to the Hillsborough County Code Enforcement Special Magistrate hearing. When addressing the magistrate, please state your name, address, and speak clearly into the microphone. If you are planning to speak during this hearing, you must sign the speakers list located at the front door so you can be called. Any person who decides to appeal a decision of the Code Enforcement Special Magistrate will need a record of the proceedings. The record is comprised of the testimony and evidence upon which an appeal is based. It is your responsibility to ensure that a verbatim record of the proceedings is made. By law, you have 30 days from the date of my order to appeal my decision to circuit court. Presentations by the county, respondents, and opposition must be kept to a maximum of 10 minutes each. The special magistrate may recess at 12:30 and reconvene at 1:30 to conclude its business if needed. The basic process for this hearing is as follows. Ms. Meyer will conduct the oath of witness. Your case will be announced. Staff will present their evidence on your case, and then you will be allowed to rebut that evidence and explain what has occurred. I will close the hearing and announce a decision. I may ask questions and allow other witness testimony as necessary. Depending on my order, the county staff may later have to conduct an inspection to see if you have complied. If the staff believes you have not complied, you will receive a notice in the mail. By law, you have 10 days to contest that notice, otherwise it will be considered correct and a lien may be filed against your property. For false alarm or water resource cases, if you have not complied by paying the past due burglar, false alarm fine, or water resources penalty fine within the time ordered, you'll receive a notice in the mail. By law, you have 10 days to contest that notice, otherwise it will be considered correct and a lien may be filed against your property. If you have any questions, these rules are outlined by Hillsborough County Codes of Ordinances, Laos, Chapter 14, Article 2, Section 14. And before we begin, please silence all electronic devices.
Everyone who will be testifying this morning must take the oath of witness. Please stand to take the oath and raise your right hand, including county staff. And anyone who's virtual will also need to take it. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. And just a reminder, everyone, please keep your masks on as long as you're in the building here. Thank you. On and over your nose and mouth. First case.
Let me go ahead and do the,
I'm sorry.
can I approve the minutes?
Oh, yeah.
Thanks. No, that's totally okay. First order of business, recording secretary, are you online reading us okay?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Thank you. I approve the
You're
minutes
welcome.
of June 4th, 2021 and June 18th of 2021 as noted. Go ahead, Ms. Meyer, I'm ready.
Turn to page 12 under fire marshal cases, number 21. And we are going to do the fire marshal cases first. Number 21, case number FM 21003. The owner is Palms at Cedar Trace, LLC, and the violator is Palms at Cedar Trace. Location 2200 Cedar Trace Circle. We have service and we have a representative here to testify. Everyone's here for this case. Come forward, and the fire marshal, right, you can have that seat right there. Good morning. State your name and address.
My name is Walter Niles II, address 11312 Callaway Pond Drive, Riverview, Florida.
And you're here as a representative of?
Palms at Cedar Trace, yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. And we do not have PowerPoints for the fire marshal. There was a technical issue, so everything will be verbal testimony.
No problem. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning. What would you like to tell me?
Good morning. My name is Nicole Rivette. I'm inspector for Hillsborough County Fire Rescue. We are here on behalf of Palms at Cedar Trace. The first initial inspection for this property was April 16th of 2019 with a list of 9 violations. The last inspection was August 3rd. The list has gone down to 2 violations for life safety. The building fire alarm breaker lock on 2 of the buildings, 6 and 10. The annual fire report for the the buildings 6, 10, and 11.
Okay. Sir, what would you like to tell us?
We have a contract with our life safety company to come out August 16th. We pushed to get it done prior to, they just have limited manpower. So I'm asking for the maximum time allowed, although it does seem like a simple issue they can resolve in one day. My theory is once they do the test, they may discover more issues.
Okay, so how much time do you think you need to complete that?
I would say 3 months.
Ooh, okay. Inspector, what I heard was this is a life safety issue, and my understanding is that this has been going on since April of 2019. Is that correct?
Correct. They did have a fire alarm annual, but it was out of date, and they were not able to get the fire alarm company to come out. August 16th is the earliest. Our recommendation is, along with the property manager, for 2 to 3 months.
Okay. All right, so you're okay with 90 days?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fantastic. Got a winner. I rule in case FM 21003, the based on the evidence presented, I find the property is in violation of Hillsborough County codes or ordinances as listed in staff's presentation. Further, based on the gravity of the violation, the action taken by the violator and the violator's history, I grant 90 days to come into compliance. If compliance is not achieved by that date, a fine of $150 per day be assessed.
Thank you, sir.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming down.
Don't go away, you have another case.
Yes.
We'll go to that case now, number 23 on the agenda, FM 21005, and the owner is Palms at Sand Lake LLC and Palms at Sand Lake Apartments. Location 1302 Cooperstown Court. We have service and we have a representative here. And could you state your name and address again for this case?
Walter Niles II. Address is 11312 Callaway Pond Drive, Riverview, Florida.
Inspector?
Good morning. Do I need to state my name and everything again? Good morning, Nicole Rivette, Inspector 952, Hillsborough County Fire Rescue. We were under inspection for the Palms of Sand Lake. First inspection was May 17th of 2019. A list of violations, the list of violations were 13 violations. The last inspection was July 21st of 2021. That list went down to 2. Buildings 3, 9, and 15 needed fire alarm breaker locks. The buildings 2, 5, and 16, all panels were in trouble. Those panels will need to be upgraded, in which permits will need to be pulled. Fire Marshal's recommendation is 3 months.
I'm feeling I know the answer, but sir, what would you like to tell us?
We have the panels. We had the panels already. Our life safety company kind of dropped the ball by not pulling the permits. So we're kind of just waiting for the permits to be pulled, but we have everything on hand on site. We've had it for a couple months now.
Okay. So is 90 days sufficient for you to complete that?
Yes, sir. I think so.
Fantastic. And before I rule, I just want to say, A, thank you for coming down and thank you for taking care of those life safety issues. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
I rule in case FM 21005, the based on the evidence presented, I find the property is in violation of Hillsborough County codes or ordinances as staff's presentation. Further, based on the gravity of the violation, the action taken by the violator and the violator's history, I grant 90 days to come into compliance. If compliance is not achieved by that date, a fine of $150 per day be assessed. Every 90 days.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We have 2 more fire marshal cases that there isn't a person here for. We're going to go ahead and do them.
Okay.
Number 23, case number FM 21004. The owner is Kimco Carrollwood 664 Incorporated. The violator is USPS Ehrlich. Location 14910 North Del Mabry Highway. We have service and no one is present. And will now testify.
Hello,
Good morning.
I'm Paul Everett, Inspector 1273 with Hillsborough County Fire Marshal's Office. We conducted our first inspection at USPS in March of 2019. At that time, there was a list of 7 life safety violations. Since then, my last inspection was conducted on July 22nd, and the list had been reduced down to 1, 2, 3, 5 remaining violations. And their manager just called me yesterday and said that they're down to just a fire alarm that they need repaired. And apparently they're going to have to replace the whole system. So time may be an issue.
Okay. And your recommendation, what type of timeline is required for that?
I would assume that 3 months would be safe.
Okay. All right. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, sir.
All right. Fantastic. Everybody wants to get out of here today. I rule in case FM 21004, the base of the evidence presented, I find the property is in violation of Hillsborough County codes or ordinances listed in staff's presentation. Further, based on the gravity of the violation, the actions taken by the violator and the violator's history, I grant 90 days to come into compliance. If compliance is not achieved by the date, a fine of $150 per day be assessed.
Thank you.
Thank you, Inspector.
Page 13, number 24, FM 21006. This case complied on August 5th, 2021. Number 25, FM 21008. The owner is Free Martin Realty LLC, and the violator is Riverwood Apartments. Location 709 Oceanside Circle. We have service on both parties and no one is present.
Good morning. My name is Inspector Johnson, Maisha Johnson, number 1621. I conducted the first inspection or the routine inspection at Riverwood Apartments on August 20th, 2019. There are a total of 11 buildings. For the laundry building, the common area, the outstanding violation that remains is an out of service hydrant. So meaning it cannot be used for fire protection. And that hydrant is bagged out of service, and that is still accurate as of my last visit approximately 2 weeks ago. And for the other 10 buildings, they are the apartment buildings where the residents live. Those buildings require a draft stop inspection in the attic space, and that is also outstanding.
All the violations have been active since 8/20 of 19?
Yes, sir.
Goodness. Any response from the violator? I know they're not here today, but any communication at all about making a good faith effort here, or?
It's communication has been very limited from the property.
I understand. Okay. And they're all considered life safety
Yes, sir.
concerns at this time?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. I rule in case FM 21008, the base of the evidence presented, I find the property is in violation of Hillsborough County codes or ordinances listed in staff's presentation. Further, based on the gravity of the violation, the actions taken by the violator and the violator's history, I grant 14 days to come into compliance. If compliance is not achieved by that date, a fine of $300 per day be assessed.
Okay, and that finishes the
Thank you, Inspector.
Thank you.
fire marshal cases. Do you want to go back to the beginning of the agenda now?
That'd be terrific. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Under burglar alarm cases, page 1, number 1, BA 12359. The owner is Lux at 1820 LP, and the violator is Danielle Jenkins. Location 1820 Crosstown Club Place. We have service on both parties, and we have someone signed in virtually here. Is Christina Daniel?
I'm here, Christina
Oh,
Daniels here.
Okay, I want to have you take the oath so we have it on record since you're virtual and not in the room.
Okay.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
And state your name and address for the record.
Christina Daniel, 1820 Crosstown Club Place, Tampa, Florida, 33619.
And who are you representing here?
I'm representing the property owner, Lux at 1820. Danielle Jenkins is the resident, the former resident that had the personal burglar alarm that had all of the fines.
Okay,
We're just here because we were told to appear.
okay, thank you. The staff is going to do their presentation, and then you'll be able to
Okay,
tell the magistrate what you want to tell them.
thank you.
Tina Burney, Hillsborough County Consumer and Veteran Services. Case BA 123259, data false alarm 10/30/20, 11/4/20, 11/22/20, 11/24/20, 12/11/20, 12/12/20, 12/23/20, 12/27/20, 12/29/20, 1/5/21, and 1/12/21. Service for 27/21, amount due $4,125, and they have an additional outstanding violation of $500 from May 26, 2021.
All right, ma'am, what'd you like to tell us?
I just would like to make sure that this is clear that that Daniel Jenkins, the resident, and also the false alarm violator, is the one responsible for this and not the property. We don't provide burglar alarms at all to our residents. If they get them on their own, that is a contract between them and the alarm company.
So Ms.
we don't
Jenkins
maintain
listed
that.
here as the violator is the owner of the property. We noticed the property and not the
No,
individual.
she was the individual.
Just a moment. Both the property owner and the violator, the ordinance holds the property owner responsible as well.
Okay. Understand. And we've had no contact with Ms. Jenkins?
Oh, we have. We have every single time we received a notice, which was actually months after they started being sent to her. I'm guessing, hearing no response, you started to send them to us, which was the first we were made aware of it. We reached out and talked to her all the time and told her she had to pay, and tried to see if there were any way we could recover in a different way, maybe, making a payment plan with her if we were to have to pay, and then she pay us back. We were advised by our attorneys that we could not put anything on her ledger or anything. So we definitely did our due diligence and tried very, very hard to get her to take it seriously or to file a dispute or anything, and she would not do it. She has actually moved out of our community. We have cut ties as of August 3rd.
Okay, so I'm having a tough time understanding the accountability here for the property owner if the violator has left. Ms. Burney, how does that?
Ultimately, we hold the owner of the property responsible because
Okay.
we can put that lien on their property.
Okay. Ms. Dano, understand what county staff is saying, that essentially the property owner is ultimately the one that's responsible for that regardless of status of tenant or whether the tenant has moved out, correct?
Yeah, I didn't know if we were responsible because we don't provide burglar alarms. We don't maintain them. We have no idea if someone has installed one. There's not a way for us to know. We're not involved in that process. So I was just wondering how we would be held accountable for her personal account.
Well, at the time that these violations started occurring, you got notice as well, correct?
We did not at the time. It was months later that we started receiving notices.
I understand your point of view from a concern of the violations. Ultimately, they are tied to the property. What I would suggest probably is maybe dividing up the liability here to give you an opportunity to pay a smaller fine. And then I'm not an attorney, but I would suggest that you somehow advise your tenants in your lease that you're not responsible for that, so that you can.
We do.
Liability. Okay.
We do have an addendum that holds us not responsible. The issue is that Ms. Jenkins is not responding to you nor paying the fines, nor did she show up today. So if you have luck getting in touch with her, it would be better than my luck.
I understand. My guess is that I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to split the fine and the liability, and we'll still hold Ms. Jenkins liable, and then you can go after her on your own in regards to what's outstanding or what, based on your addendum and your contract information. So I think that's how I'm going to rule, unless you have anything else that's
No,
pertinent to
I
this
think
case.
I would appreciate that. And thank you very much for that consideration. Just what would happen from now on? So if you split the fine and we pay our part, what happens to Ms. Jenkins and her part?
The county staff will continue to hold her outstanding for that and try to locate her to make her liable for that. So
So we would
It
not
won't
have,
matter.
if she doesn't pay, we would not be subject to a lien on the property at that time.
correct. I'm going to split it so that it's 50% you and 50% them. So as long as you pay your portion within the time allotted, you'll be okay.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
No problem. I rule in case BA 123259, the base of the evidence presented, the violator has failed to pay the false alarm penalty fine imposed by County Ordinance 04-16. I am going to, as previously mentioned, split the liability for the violation, 50% for the owner and separate 50% for the violator. I give both parties 3 days to pay the fine imposed, or if the payment is not made by that date, a fine of $150 a day be assessed. So you receive notice on mail, Ms. Daniel, it'd be for 50% of that violation amount, and then we will go after the violator for the balance.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming by. Next case, please.
Turn to page 9 under landscaping and natural resource cases. Number 16, case number L185168. The owner is Elaine F. Matong and K. Lewis Matong II. Location 3608 Sand Hill Crane Trail. We have service and we have people here. Good morning.
Good morning. Your microphone, sir.
Thank you. Good morning, Louis Daniel Lazar. I'm an attorney for Mr. Matong, Louis Matong, who is present.
State your name and address, sir.
Louis K. Mitong II, 3608 Sand Hill Crane Trail, Plant City, Florida, 33565.
Thank you. Ms. Hall, good morning.
Good morning. This is Krista Hall, an environmental supervisor with the Development Services Department. Just a minute, I'll be pulling up the PowerPoint.
No problem. Take your time. Morning, Jim.
Good morning.
I like the new background, Ms. Hall. That's pretty.
She makes some great power sets.
She does.
This is case L 185168. The property owner is Elaine Matong and Louis Matong, and the violation address is 3608 Sand Hill Crane Trail, Plant City. Violation, it's unpermitted land alterations and disposal of fill materials that alter stormwater flows. Ordinance violated is Section 4.01.03, first inspection, August 31st, 2018. First notice, December 31st, 2020. Last inspection, August the 2nd, 2021. There is 10 inspections that has been done. Get that off. On August the 31st, Jim Ralph was on the property, identified improvements that were made to a roadway or driveway to the property. And Jim Ralph is online. If there's any questions in regards to this, and if Jim, you want to add anything to these pictures?
This was the first time we had come out. I didn't see the driveway before. There had been substantial rain before this period, so the surrounding properties were flooded. It's a pretty level area, and county ditch had some blockage to it, so there was a lot of standing water. So the people in the back have easements across these two properties and added some fill to the driveway without a permit to be able to access the property better.
So the driveway was there to start with?
Yes,
Okay.
Mr. Matong told me that it was, unnavigable by the vehicles though, so he had to do something to get back to his house.
Understand. Thank you.
This is another picture that was taken on August the 31st, showing the areas that stormwater flows in the area. Any comments on this one, Jim Rauch?
No, just a lot of standing water in the area. It's very poor. It's in the north of I-4 area, North Plant City, and it's just a flat area of poor drainage.
Another picture that was taken December 11th in 2020, showing that it looks like some more improvements have been made with some gravel materials. Any comments, Jim?
Just more work done. The picture on the right shows a culvert that was installed, but it was installed kind of high and small, so it restricted the flow from one side of the driveway to the other.
Okay. And this is a picture that is taken on July 29th in comparison to 2018. And there does look like some new culverts put in. So there's some improvements that have been made, maybe to the benefit to the area. However, they have not been reviewed by the county for final approval.
That's a mistake. That picture on the left is also at the same time, July 29th. The 2018 picture was the original one at the beginning of this display with the clay soil. The picture there is the most recent picture. So it's just mismarked, that's all.
The county's recommendation is for case L 185168 is for the Mr. Matong to submit a compliant natural resources permit application to address the disposed fill materials and stormwater requirements for the property and obtain a natural resource permit after receipt of application within 90 calendar days, to include a professional engineer's plan to address the fill materials. No pumping should go to adjacent property owners per the stormwater technical manual, and fines will be applied for failure to meet these timeframes. It is my understanding that this roadway goes through two properties, so he'll need to have permission from all property owners for this improvement.
Okay, Counselor, what would you like to add?
Yes, Your Honor. Just briefly, Mr. Matong served in the Air Force for his original career. He is retired disabled, now a school teacher. When he was in the Air Force, he used to work on runways, build actual airports for our warbirds. And so he used to be charged with not interfering with natural resources and water flow. He did respond previously to requests by the county for information. They asked us to respond. He did respond. He is agreeing to the recommendations today. He's already working on it. His only concern is that because it's a rainy season, he would ask for another 30 days, 120 in case he needs it. However, it looks like he's already got someone ready to go out there and do the professional engineering plan, as well as the work that's going to be required. So they will get the permit and do the work.
Okay, fantastic.
County is willing to accept 120 calendar days to the recommendation.
There is some good mojo in this room today. We are all getting along. That's fantastic. Okay.
Must be you.
I guess. Full moon. I don't know. Okay. So you're okay, comfortable with 120 days?
That's fine.
We'll get that taken care of.
Thank you. Yes.
Excellent. And please thank your client for his service to our country.
I sure will.
Thank you. I rule in case L185168 that based on the evidence presented, I find the property is in violation of Hillsborough County codes or ordinances as listed in staff's presentation. Further, based on the gravity of the violation, the action taken by the violator, and the violator's history, concur with staff's recommendations to submit a compliant natural resources permit application to address the disposed fill materials and stormwater requirements for the property and obtain a natural resources permit after receipt of application within 120 calendar days. Also, to submit a professional engineer's plan to address fill materials. No pumping to adjacent neighbors per the stormwater technical manual. Failure to meet any of these timelines will result in a fine of $200 per day.
I would like to just check, there was some witnesses that said they were going to speak up.
Oh,
I
I'm
just
sorry.
didn't want to leave them out if
Sure.
they're online.
Okay.
I believe they're here in person.
Is there somebody else here for this case?
Yes,
Oh,
please.
I'm very sorry. Please come up. I'll hold on my. Please come on up and give us your name and address. And
Thank
you
you.
came all the way down here, so
Oh, right there.
that one right there, you can pull it down to perfect.
Frances Hubbard. I live right in front of the Louis Matan, the adjoining property,
And your address?
2902 Lamp Road, Plant City, Florida, 33565.
Thank you. What would you like to tell me?
Well,
Oh, okay. You can stay there. The gentleman will help you. There's a
right.
overhead there
I have
to show them.
okay. Oh, just had eye surgery. Can't see. Okay. The flood in our yard has been very costly for us. We have had to replace 4 different rooms due to floors getting soft spots from weeks of water sitting under our house, kitchen floor, laundry room floor, bathroom floor, 2 bedroom floors. When this water sits under our yard for a couple weeks at a time, the smell alone is terrible, and we are very concerned about mold. Our granddaughters have had to carry their young brother on their back because of all the standing water in our front yard after he gets off the bus at the end of the road, because there are snakes in that water. One actually got stuck in our water softener and cost me $150 to put the softener back together. Lewis has not had any zoning permits or anything for any that's changing this water flow. We've had to buy boots just so we can get in and out of our house. My legs are damaged and I can't get boots on and off, so I have to use large white trash bags with rubber bands to hold them on. Our water well is in our front yard and the flood water gets in and around our well. We need to use bottled water for drinking and cooking. We need to boil water to wash dishes. Lou has told his lawyer we put in a new septic system. The system is the same one that was there when we moved in. We have did nothing to change the flow of any water. He has also said the water can't flow to the pond at the end of Lamp Road. According to the neighbor across the street that's lived there since the 50s, that is a sinkhole, not a pond. Our yard never flooded before Lou directed water into our yard. I actually asked the title company when we bought our house if the yard flooded, and they said no. According to the neighbors across the street, it never flooded until he changed the flow of the water. He had been flooding the house property next door for years, but then it got sold and he couldn't flood that anymore. So that's when he put all these pipes in and started flooding both yards instead of just the neighbor's yard. A delivery truck went down the road to deliver furniture to Lou, and coming out, the driver hit our overhead line, snapping our electric pole because of the height of the road that he's built up. And I had to have electric back on that night. I had to pay for the pole, $1,800, because my sister's on home dialysis and she had to do dialysis. And the money expense to us has been huge, not to mention the resale on our house has now suffered also. And can you please make him stop? That's all I have.
Ma'am, a couple questions for you before you leave.
Yes.
Question number 1, are you one of the 2 property owners that this gentleman will require approval for to put the road through?
Yes. Well, I would think because I'm on the one side and Rich and his family's on the other side.
Okay, so the intention here by having him go through the permit process is to have the right people from the county come through and make him permit what he's done and to change or modify what he's done so it doesn't impact the neighbor. So are you okay with my previous ruling of 120 days for him to get through the process, require the permit, require the engineering so that he can show the modifications that he's doing is not impacting you or minimizing the impact of you and your neighbors?
I'm okay with it as long as those pipes go away that brings all that extra water.
Unfortunately, I'm not an engineer, so I don't know how the pipes work, but I can say that we have the brightest and best and online as well that will be able to make sure that what he's doing is up to code and current so that there's a minimal impact of water on your property from this addition that he's making.
Okay.
Knowing the road was already there and what he's done is obviously negatively impacting you.
Big time.
They're going to find a way to make sure that it's up to code and proper.
Well, that would make me happy because I can't keep making repairs like that.
Absolutely. I totally understand. And if he doesn't follow through within that timeline, then he'll be liable for those fines.
Okay,
So
thank you so much.
absolutely.
Now you know.
Anything, sir, you'd like to add? I mean, I understand that
Yeah.
you can come up and I don't want to belittle the time that you came to come down here, but if you can just, give your name and address and then anything additional you'd like to add that she's already done just for the sake of time.
Okay,
So-
just, my name is Michael Yonaziz, 2902 Lamp Road,
Thank
Plant
you.
City, Florida. When 2018, before he put the pipes in, or when he put the pipes in, he had told me that it was no longer his problem, it was going to be my problem, and that I should pump it into the next neighbor's yard.
I see. That's where the pumping recommendation comes in.
He raised the road the one time, then he raised the road again. And we just had problems with the yard flooding. Every rainy season, it's really, really bad. We have to wade through the yard, our water pump, our water system gets flooded over in the area. We have to boil our water, and it's just been an ongoing thing for a couple of years now. The flow of the water has changed the landscape,
Mhm.
and it just keeps getting worse and worse.
Well, I definitely hear your frustration. And as I mentioned to the young lady, are you okay with us continuing the process, making him go through the permit process to make sure that what's there is certified and correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming down. Thank you to both of you. I'm going to go ahead and restate my motion just for,
Yes, please.
it's thinking about sharing, but it's not sharing.
Okay, it must have went away. All right, thank you. Yeah,
Thank you. I rule in case L 185168 that based on the evidence presented, I find the property is in violation of Hillsborough County Codes and Ordinances listed in staff's presentation. Further, based on the grant violation action taken by the violator and the violator's history, I concur with staff recommendation to require them to submit a compliant natural resources permit application to address the disposed fill material and stormwater requirements for the property and obtain a natural resources permit after receipt of application within 120 calendar days. Also, to submit a professional engineer's plan to address fill materials. No pumping to adjacent neighbors per stormwater technical manual. Failure to meet any of the timelines above will result in a penalty of $200 per day. Thank you. Next case, please.
We are about to lose our monitors temporarily because you see what it's doing.
Oh.
Is it okay if we go to the BA cases that don't require PowerPoint
Yeah,
presentation?
that would be fine.
Get through that
Absolutely.
because
Sure.
we're about to lose it.
That'll keep us moving. Thank you.
Okay.
No problem.
Okay, back to page 1 under burglar alarm. Number 2, case number BA 96876B. The owner is Jesus Martinez and Nilda A. Fortier, 9117 Bay Meadow Court. We have service and no one is present.
Tina Burney, Hillsborough County Consumer and Veteran Services. Case BA 96876B. Data false alarm 11/2/20, 11/4/20, 12/5/20, 12/8/20, 12/27/20. Service 4/21/21. Amount due $2,300. Additional outstanding $2,050. 1,550 of that's already been to a hearing, and there's an additional 500 from May 26th.
I rule in case BA 96876B that based on the evidence presented, the violator has failed to pay the false alarm penalty fine imposed by County Ordinance 04-16. I grant the violator 15 days to pay the fine imposed, order if that payment is not made by that date, a fine of $350 per day be assessed.
Page 2, number 3, case number VA 106246A. The owner is David Sable, 5009 Avenue Avignon. We have service and no one is present.
Case BA 106246A, data false alarm 1121, 12121, 2921, 3121, service 42221, amount due $2,000, no additional outstanding violations.
A ruling case BA 106246A, that based on the evidence presented, the violator has failed to pay the false alarm penalty fine imposed by County Ordinance 04-16. I grant the violator 30 days to pay the fine imposed, order if that payment is not made by that date, a fine of $50 per day be assessed.
Number 4, BA 86851. The owner is Winford L. Moore. Location 1313 Misty Valley Drive. We have service and no one is present.
Case BA 86851, data false alarm 112620, 21421, 3721, service 42321, amount due $250. Additional outstanding violations 1,950. They're from March and April of this year.
I rule in case BA 86851 that based on the evidence presented, I find the violator has failed to pay the false alarm penalty fine imposed by County Ordinance 04-16. I grant the violator 15 days to pay the fine imposed, order if the payment is not made by that date, a fine of $125 per day be assessed.
Page 3, number 5, BA 110879. The owner is Al J. Ross, 7026 Old Benton Drive. We have service and no one is present.
Case BA 110879, data false alarm 12820, 121320, service 42321, amount due $175, no additional outstanding violations.
I rule in case BA 110879 that based on the evidence presented, the violator has failed to pay the false alarm penalty fine imposed by County Ordinance 04-16. I grant the violator 30 days to pay the fine imposed, order if the payment is not made by that date, a fine of $30 per day be assessed.
Number 6, BA 73752. This case complied July 26, 2021. Page 4, number 7, BA 93349. The owner is Ashley Property Enterprise LLC, and the violator is Holy Hog, 11401 North Del Mabry Highway. We have service on both parties and no one is present.
Okay, excuse me. Case BA 3349, data false alarm 112220, service 42221, amount due $100, no additional outstanding violations.
I rule in case BA 93349 that based on the evidence presented, the violator has failed to pay the false alarm penalty fine imposed by County Ordinance 04-16. I grant the violator 30 days to pay the fine imposed, or if the payment is not made by that date, a fine of $15 per day be assessed.
Number 8, BA 121827. This case complied August 5th, 2021. Page 5, number 9, BA 122135. This case complied August 6th, 2021. Number 10, BA 122958. This case complied August 2nd, 2021. Number 11, BA 123487. This case complied July 20th, 2021. Page 6, number 12, BA 123632. This case complied July 2nd, 2021. Number 13, BA 5860. The owner is WW Granger Incorporated, and the violator is Granger. Location 1820 Tampa East Boulevard. We have service and no one is present.
Case BA 5860, data false alarm 112620, service 42321, amount due $75, no additional outstanding violations.
I rule in case BA 5860 that based on the evidence presented, the violator has failed to pay the false alarm penalty fine imposed by County Ordinance 04-16. I grant the violator 30 days to pay the fine imposed, order if that payment is not made by that date, a fine of $15 per day be assessed.
Page 14, page 7, number 14, BA 91972. The owner is J. Rod Realty Incorporated, 2001 East Fletcher Avenue. We have service and no one is present.
Case BA 91972, data false alarm 112220, service 42721, amount due $75, no additional outstanding violations.
I rule in case BA 91972, the base name is presented, the violator has failed to pay the false alarm penalty fine imposed by County Ordinance 04-16. I grant the violator 30 days to pay the fine imposed. Order of payment is not made by that date. A fine of $15 per day be assessed.
That is all of the false alarm cases. Page 8, number 15, underwater ordinance cases, WR 2100699. This case complied August 5th, 2021. And that will bring us back to the natural resource cases. And it looks like the computers are back up.
Okay. Next case, please.
Okay, the next case on the agenda is number 17, which is a contest of an order that was previously made. Case number L195753. The owner is Baby A. McKill. Location 3108 John Moore Road, and a representative is here to speak on the contest on this case.
Okay.
Okay. State your name and address.
Good morning. My name is Jerry Hoffman. My address is 4536 Oak River Circle, Bel Rico, 33596.
Thank you. And you're representing the
I'm
property
representing
owner.
the property owner.
Thank you. Is he going to testify?
If he needs to, he can. His English is not real good, but
Okay. Just have him put his name and address on the record in case he
he
does.
did. Outside he did, if that's okay. Or
No,
It is
I
not.
need it on the record here.
No problem.
My name is Baby McKeel. My address is 1612 Heritage Drive, Valerico, Florida, 33594.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Morning. May I give the staff a chance to
Oh, I'm sorry.
talk about,
I apologize.
get us up to speed, and then
Absolutely.
I'll be right with you.
Thank
Hold
you.
on
I'm
one second.
sorry.
That's no problem.
Sir, if you don't mind, put your mask up. Thank you.
Ms. Hall?
Yes, this is Krista Hall with the Development Services Department. This is case L 195753. Property owner and violator is Baby A. McKill. Violation address 3108 John Moore Road, Brandon. I'm not going to go through the rest of this slide. I'm going to just go through the chronology. That'll
Thank you.
probably be easier. Since this is a contest of non-compliance, on December 8th, 2020, you issued an order. January 28th, 2021, site inspection was done by Jeremy Ratliff and Abdel Lorfi, county inspectors and engineer with the Development Services Department. They confirmed non-compliance to the single-family grading plans. That's the code that's referenced for single-family permitting, SFR. On February 3rd, 2021, that is when the affidavit of non-compliance was confirmed. The respondents did not finalize the site construction as depicted on the most recent lot grading plans that was on file as of February 2nd, 2021, which was part of Part 1 of the order. On February 5th, 2021, that's approximately 2 days later, Jeremy Ratliff did confirm compliance to the approved grading plans for Part 1 of the order. So there's 2 days of, or 3 days of non-compliance. Part 2 of the order required a submittal of a topographical as-built survey within 60 days from the completion of the construction per the approved plans. On April 6, 2021, it was confirmed that the respondents did not provide a survey as required per the order. And so at this time, we do not have compliance. We're still awaiting submittal of a topographical as-built survey that is in accordance to the approved lot grading plan.
All right, Mr. Hoffman, what would you like to add?
Well, thank you for allowing us to come. And first of all, I want to say thank you to this board because since this has all been going on, I've had a right knee replacement and a full left.
You're
knee
looking
replacement.
great.
Well, the last time I came, I was with a walker and you weren't here and they said, well, the right special magistrate wasn't here, so they continued us last month.
Got it.
But the month before that, you allowed me to move because I had the surgery in my second knee, the exact same. I was having surgery while you guys were meeting. The history is somewhat complete, and I've got a file that I can go through with you, but and I think Mr. Adele will attest, we've met with Jeremy and Adele at least 5 times in the site. And there's a neighbor who had some concerns, and they were legitimate. And we were doing things according to a surveyor and engineer's plan. And as we would meet in the field, we would all look at it. A lot of times plans aren't exactly the easiest to follow in the field, and sometimes you make modifications. And we made modifications at least 4 times. And at the end, when it was complied or accepted, they said, this is great, it's working fine. And I said, do you need a survey? And Abdel thought, none of us had the order in front of us that said it should be. So he said, no, this is working fine, very good. Then came back that we hadn't complied. So we complied with a survey which was given to Rick Cabrera, I believe it was May 10th. And when we came last month, July 13th, is that? Let me tell you the date. Yeah, July 13th was when we met here, and there was another special magistrate, so they couldn't hear us. At that meeting, Abdel gave me the drawing of which we had submitted. He said, we would like you to still make a few modifications to it and resubmit. We have, and because of the rains and all the stuff we've made the corrections. They haven't been re-engineered and sent back. But all I'm asking is to allow the staff to respond that we've been working together for months. And I've been helping him only since the beginning of the year. I was not there at the beginning when the problem started. He hired me afterwards to help him get this straightened out. So I think you would attest that we've been working with you since January all the time. We've met there 5 times. And we have now the stuff that he gave me on July 13th, we've completed. It now has to be the surveyors have been there, sir. His bills just keep going up. The poor guy's just getting understandably feed, but we now have made the requirements that he asked us of July 13th. And they just now have to be resurveyed and submitted to Rick Cabrera's office for approval.
Excuse me, please put your mask back on. This is a contest of a finding of noncompliance by the department. And that's what
That's the issue
is for,
here today.
whether
Right.
or not they were in compliance at that particular time.
Right. Adele.
Yeah, I would like to also add, and Jerry, I believe you received this email from the Assistant Director, Rick Cabrera, who is a certified floodplain manager. I just put it up on the screen. So that was issued on May 27th to explain why the as-built that you sent was not satisfactory. And it was my understanding that you had received this email. But this is for your understanding why we need to have them to correct the grades so that it meets the approved plans. And in it explains that once those are corrected, then a new survey will be submitted to show that everything matches up. And you were given this shows,
Correct.
the numbers aren't matching. 3120, yet there's a 31.8, 31.35, and there's a 32.1. So the numbers aren't matching up, and that's why he couldn't accept it.
And I understand, but Krista, the first time I received that was when Abdel gave that to me on July 13th.
That's what I'm hearing that now. So I'm sorry you weren't able to get that earlier.
And Abdel, can you explain to our magistrate that we have been?
Excuse me, please speak into the microphone. The secretary won't be able to pick it up.
Thank you, I'm sorry.
She's remote, so we got to make sure we're nice and clear for her.
I understand.
I take care of my recording
I understand.
secretaries,
I
so
apologize.
no problem.
I think the most important thing is he is concerned about finishing it, and he's asked me to stay on top of it. And we've met at least 5 times between he and Jeremy, and they've been always helpful. And I think we are now there, and we just need to get through another survey and engineer's compliance letter and then resod. So if we could ask your support for, just because of the rains, how every time you ask somebody to come out, it's about a week or 2 weeks before they show up. Everybody's so busy, but if you could allow us a continuance to complete it.
Well, unfortunately, this isn't an opportunity to ask for a continuance. This is a contest on whether or not I believe the evidence has been presented that you've completed the task which was phase 2, which was to provide the as-built topo survey
Correct.
as
But
requested.
I understand, and when we supplied that, it didn't meet the originally presented engineer's drawing, but it was approved by county inspectors in the field. They said, this works, this is, so we thought the left hand said this was okay, and then the right hand said, no, that's not what we want it.
Okay. To the county inspector.
I understand what you're trying to say, Jerry, and I think Adele will support me, but like you said, in field, sometimes things looks good, and that's why we asked for the as-built survey to help confirm what you've done. And unfortunately, it didn't confirm what we saw out in the field.
And I understand that again, but when we were in the field.
Give me 1 second.
I'm sorry.
Let me run the show here.
I apologize.
Can you testify about in regards to your conversations with the respondent and whether at any time you gave them the indication or acknowledgement that what they had provided to you in the field was sufficient and met Part 2's requirement?
Abdel Al-Arfi, Stormwater, Hillsborough County. Yes, we did meet with Jerry several times, and the final thing we're looking for is the as-built to verify that the plan is basically depict what was approved. And he did some modifications. I understand that back and forth. We went through it. It worked at the time. It didn't work later on. But the as-built will show exactly what we're looking for. Last time when we were here, we didn't have this going, but I met with him afterwards and I gave him what he was showed there with the circles. And that's our review of the plan he submitted, the latest one he submitted. We reviewed them and we had some comments. So I provided him with the email explaining what needs to be done. So to comply with the as-built requirement. And he said, now this morning, he told me that he had a surveyor to come out there to survey the latest improvement and submit to us. So
that in of itself infers that we're not complete, and we don't have a complete drawing.
we don't have it yet,
I
but
understand.
he said he's gonna send it to Rick Cabrera, our boss. So once Rick gets it, we'll look at it, we'll review it, and if it matches up with the as-built that we're looking for, then we're done with it.
Understand.
But as of this time, we haven't received the as-built, but he's been willing and actually working with us through several changes, through several different things happened in the field, and we give him a credit for that. But we haven't got to the final point yet.
Understand.
So when he submitted the as-built, it shows that what we're looking for, I think we'll be satisfied.
Okay. I understand that we're working on a contest here, but do I have the ability to freeze or hold fines?
You will need to rule on the contest, and then you can make any other rules
Okay.
you think is appropriate.
Okay. In my opinion, I think there was a 30-day delay here that you could have had more activity on. Unfortunately, I was not present, so you had to wait another cycle to do this. So my suggestion, my recommendation is going to be that I'm going to rule that you're currently not in compliance for phase 2, so the contest will be denied, but I'm going to either remove or put on hold. I'm not sure which. Okay. I'm going to remove 30 days worth of fines so that it doesn't impact you financially for the period at which you had to wait for that additional cycle. And then the burden is still on you to complete the as-built survey and get it to them so that we can stop and approve that section. Does that make sense?
Well, I mean, I understand what you're saying now, but I don't see how it's fair to be fining this gentleman when every time they've asked us to meet, we meet and we all agree, let's change this. And Mr. Ratliff can attest to, he's in virtually, let's change this, let's do this. We've done that 4 times. So to have, and at one of the times it's working so good, I said, do we need a survey? We did not have your.
But I understand what you're saying, but my order was very specific that you had to provide an as-built topo.
I understand.
Okay.
I understand.
Mr. Ratliff, I see you online, sir. Do you have a second?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
So if you can go ahead and give us your testimony. I know we've heard from one inspector already, but anything you'd like to add in regards to this contest for timelines or that what has or has not been approved. And
State your name and
she's going to have
address,
to put you on
please.
record here.
Yeah,
So if you can state your name and address and role for the record, please.
yes, Jeremy Ratliff, Engineering Associate Supervisor, Hillsborough County Construction Services. Address is 9325 Bay Plaza Boulevard, Tampa, Florida.
Thanks, sir.
Yes, the timeline that's been presented by Krista and mentioned by Mr. Hoffman and Abdel Alorfi are pretty much accurate. Mr. Hoffman is correct. We've met out there multiple times. Again, from a field perspective, the drainage improvements that he was being, requested to do and what was shown on the plan, visually, those always look to be mostly done. And as was stated, there'd be some minor changes that we would see. It looks like it might not work here, do this, do that, just slightly. And again, there was the conversation that without the hearing in front of us, the actual order, that it looked like it was okay, and that one may not be required, the as-built survey. But after we reviewed the order, it was like that was part of the order. So yes, they would still have to supply it. At my level, from an inspection view and part of this order, the survey would have to go directly to Development Services. I haven't seen any email showing that the final one has come in yet. But as Mr. Alorfi and Mr. Hoffman has said, yeah, we are all working together. Mr. Hoffman is really doing most anything that we've asked him to do that looks like you need to do this. He's graciously, attempted to make the improvements as needed.
Okay, thank you.
Magistrate, there is a neighbor here that is wanting to speak up too.
Oh, okay. All right, can we hear from the neighbor? That would be fantastic. If you don't mind, we'll go through that real quick. Appreciate it. Thank you. Come on down. Good morning.
Hello, sir. My name is Michelle Noeza. I live at 103 Craft Road. The property in question is directly behind my property. I understand that we are here to discuss whether or not they need to have another survey, another as-built survey. And I'm very much in favor of that because I believe that the ground is a lot higher than it used to be. I've been dealing with this now for 4 summers. I first called the county at the beginning of June in 2018. There's been a lot of water in my backyard, and the swales that they've built, which lead to a retention pond, I believe, and I called the county to like have somebody come out and see this. I believe that they actually exacerbate the problem. The retention pond in the back is also designed to collect water from the roof of the house, the driveway, and some of the surrounding land. And so the rainwater that used to flow naturally out of my backyard and across the property that was behind my yard, right? That rainwater is supposed to go into a swale and then to another swale that leads to a retention pond. But I believe that this retention pond is full and, from the water, and so it can't accept any. And I don't believe that it could because the land is higher, demonstrably higher. And so I think that I'm sorry, I'm muddling it, I'm really nervous.
No, you're doing great.
But the water is flowing from the retention pond down the swales and is actually coming into my backyard. And I have pictures, and I did call, and I had Mr. Ratliff come out to look at that. And he sent an email that said, oh, yes, there was water in the swales. But he didn't say where the water came from, and I don't believe he can. I contend that the land is still so much higher that water is flowing out of the retention pond to my backyard. I have pictures I'd like to show if I may.
You're welcome to if you'd like to, sure.
Thank you, sir. There's so much dirt back there because at first, land had to be scraped so the house could be built. And that land, that earth was piled up behind my fence. And so that was the first blockage. And then more dirt was brought in for the foundation of the house. And then some of the dirt behind my fence was removed. And then still more dirt was brought in to build the septic system. And my understanding is originally the house was supposed to be attached to a sewer line, but then they changed that. And then they put in septic fields, and the septic fields are considerably higher because they have to be.
I totally understand what you're saying. I have nothing to do with what the plan is for septic or what was approved or not approved. I'm only dealing with the issue in regards to the water resource land side of things right now. And I'm dealing with a contest on whether or not a as-built survey has been provided. So we've already ruled on this project. So I'm not trying to cut you off. I know you've taken time to come down here. I just need to hear from you information in regards to the contest. If there's something that you'd like to add to that, I can't change my ruling at this point. I'm just making a determination on whether or not their fines continue running and if they've done what I've asked them to do. So you have to go back to the microphone. I can't hear you. You'll have to leave it there and go back to the mic to talk to me. You have to come back over here to the microphone. There you go.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
That's supposed to be a swale. That's supposed to go up behind the house. It's supposed to travel side of the house into a retention pond. And I think that's a lot higher than the land used to be.
Ma'am, you can't start talking again until you get back in front of the microphone.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
No,
I'm just looking out for my recording secretary.
I'm just not being very good about
No,
it.
you're great. It's fine. Just take a
Thanks.
pause. No problem.
This is some water accumulation in my backyard. I'm going to set another picture down. This is from this year, sir. I'm holding the newspaper from like June 30th. I'm standing in 6 inches of water, sir. I believe that it's essential to have another survey because it will show how much higher the ground still is. I believe it's imperative because I've lost trees and I can't sell a house that has a pond in the backyard for most of the summer. If I do, I'd have to sell it at a considerable loss because I'd have to tell whoever buys it. I mean, you can't live in my house if you have children or grandchildren, not during the summer. And quite honestly, I haven't gotten a lot of help from the county in dealing with this. And I think that this is my 4th summer dealing with this. I think is a pretty good indication of that. Thank you kindly for listening, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming down.
Please leave the pictures that you showed, ma'am. We need to keep those. Just the ones that were shown.
Okay, Mr. Hoffman, I'm ready to finish up here. So in regards to the contest, I've heard from the homeowners, I've heard from you in regards to the process. At this point, at the end of the day, you're contesting whether or not phase 2 has been completed. In my opinion, phase 2 has not been completed. I know that you're still working on it. I know there's still changes, things along the way. However, I don't want financially you to be burdened by the fact that you had to take another 30 days to come back and see me because I wasn't here last month. So my ruling at this point, I think the direction I'm headed, just so that you know, is that I'm going to deny the contest, but I'm going to give you a credit of 30 days in regards to the fines so that it doesn't impact you. And then you're just going to have to work quickly to get this resolved and the final as-built submitted and approved by the county. So unless there's something else you'd like to add,
Well,
that's
I
kind
mean,
of the direction I'm headed.
I hate to be redundant, but it's just if you're continually meeting with the county and making their changes, that would have been no time to have done that survey.
I totally understand that, but there's an example here where you showed a survey and the survey is incomplete. So there's elevations that are not even in current, and that has nothing to do with what their recommendations are. You're providing a piece of material to them as part of my order.
I understand.
That is not complete and correct.
Right. based on the fact that they said it worked in the field and they were okay with it. And I understand it wasn't what was designed. I agree with you. I'm not trying to argue that.
Right. Yep. Exactly. If it was complete and accurate, and then they're like, well, we need you to make some changes, that's something different, but that's not the case here. That
I
you
understand.
have yet to provide something that says, let's stop the clock. Here's the complete version. And then they come back and say something, then I can understand your concerns. But right now we haven't provided what's been required under the timeline that I've required it. Okay. Understand. Okay. So in case L195753, I deny the contest for the violator. However, I want to remove 30 days worth of fines from the current running timeline due to county staff, or however you want, due to the absence of a magistrate to rule to continue to move this forward. So we're going to get that off of there from a fine standpoint. Okay?
Okay, you understand the fines are still running because he's still in non-compliance. We're
correct.
just going to
I'm just removing
stop
the-
them 30 days back from today
That is
and then
correct.
restart them.
That is correct. Yeah.
Thank you.
So what is the, because we never knew the fines were really, because we continued to keep meeting with them, we never knew the fines were really running. I mean, it's just, I've seen you be so nice to all these people today and so helpful to people.
Uh-oh. Oh, careful.
Well, I mean, it's just interesting that we've been working with them 5 times in the field, 5 or 6 meetings.
Let me give you some advice. Okay. So this process is going to go, the fines are running so that you are incentivized to get this completed. After it's completed and the fines have stopped and you have done this process complete with them,
Yes, sir.
then you have the opportunity to meet with county staff and Krista and those kind of things and negotiate the fines.
Okay.
And I am sure after you go through that process, I say I'm sure, I would imagine that there'll be some negotiating in regards to your outstanding fines based on the amount of times that the inspectors have been out there and all those kind of things, and they will take care of you. I can't do that from a contest standpoint. I'm just going by the facts, what's been put in front of me for this particular phase of part 2. But you still do have options after this is done. But I would suggest, instead of relying on that, that you do your due diligence and as quickly as possible, comply with this order so the fine stops so that you can go through that process.
That's good advice.
Okay.
I agree.
Okay.
Can you tell me what the fines are from?
I do not have the exact fine, but
As of today, it's $9,100. It will increase by $100 a day until it's complied. I'm sorry, $9,300. There's $200 from part 1.
okay. So that's where we're at.
Thank you.
Okay?
Yes.
Excellent.
All right.
Thank you very much for coming down.
Thank you.
Page 10, number 8.
Thank you, Jeremy.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Ready?
Yes.
Page,
Nice place, please.
page 10, number 18, L216535 is complied as of August 5th, 2021. Number 19, case number L216539. The owner is Daniel Meyer Cohen and Heather Lee Cohen. Location 817 Terra Vista Street. We have service. And Mr. Cohen is online.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Daniel Cohen, 817 Terra Vista Street. We've already agreed to come.
Hold on one second, Mr. Cohen. Did you catch all that? Or you wanted to, can you restate your name and address, please? Just for the record, the mic was cutting in and out there.
Yeah, no problem. Daniel Cohen, 817 Terra Vista Street, Brandon, Florida, 33511.
Thank you very much. I'm going to let Ms. Hull start it, and then I'll come back to you, sir.
Okay.
Okay. Krista Hall with the Development Services Department. This is case L216539, Development Services Department. Property owner and violator is Daniel Meyer Cohen and Heather Lee Cohen. Violation address is 817 Terra Vista Street, Brandon. Violation observed is required street trees are deficient per the Land Development Code for La Colina subdivision. Ordinance violated is section 6.06.06B. First inspection, January 12, 2021. First notice, March 31, 2021. Last inspection, July 23, 2021. 3 inspections. On January 12, 2021, Tony Hood, the inspector, noted a excessively pruned street tree that does not meet the county's street tree standards. Also, this lot has 3 street trees and all of them were pruned excessively. July 23rd, went back to the property. The trees are growing sucker sprouts. However, the pruning standards do not meet the county requirements and need to be replaced with new trees. Staff recommendation for case L 216539 is that the property owner install the required 3 street trees within 30 calendar days, or fines will be issued for failure to meet it.
Okay, Mr. Cohen, what would you like to tell us?
No, we've already put in the request with our HOA. We're just waiting approval to make the change.
Okay, are you okay with a 30-day calendar timeframe?
If it's possible, just to bump it up if we can to 45, just in case. I'm not sure. We put in the request 3 weeks ago. I've heard our HOA takes 60, can take up to 40 for 6 to 8 weeks. I'm hoping that's not the case, but just as if we can get a couple more days as a buffer, just in case they do.
Are you asking for 60 days instead?
No, 45 calendar days. So instead of 30 from today, just 45, just in case our HOA takes longer to approve it. That's the ask.
I heard 6 to 8 weeks from the homeowner association. So I think what Mr. Cohen was asking for was 60 days. Are you okay with 60 days, Ms. Hall?
Yes, I am. That'll be
Okay.
fine.
Terrific. All
Thank
right. Absolutely. I'll make my ruling. Thank you very much for coming online and hanging out till the end.
Thank you for your time. Thanks.
Absolutely. I rule in case L 216539 that based on the evidence presented, I find the property is in violation of Hillsborough County codes or ordinances as listed in staff's presentation. Further, based on the violation action taken by the violator and the violator's history, concur with staff's recommendations and require the violator to install the 3 street trees within 60 calendar days. Failure to meet that timeline will result in a fine of $100 per day. Sir, you have your 60 days. Next case, please.
Page 11, number 20, L 216620. This case complied July 29, 2021. And that completes the L cases. Turn to page 14 for right-of-way cases. Number 26, case number ROWV 21003 has been pulled per staff. Number 27, ROWV 21004. The owner is NRG Investments Incorporated, location 6550 North US Highway 41. We have service and no one is present.
Good morning, Ms. Baker.
Good morning, sir. This case is ROWV 21. Oh, excuse me. My name is Vicki Baker, engineering associate and supervisor right-of-way section, Public Works Construction Services. Case number ROWV 21004, owner being NRG Investments, Inc., the violation of address of 6550 North US Highway 41, Hillsborough County. Violation observed was failure to complete the right-of-way work as permitted. Ordinance section violation of Hillsborough County Section 92-22. The first inspection was conducted on January 15th of 2020 with inspectors Gary Zimmerman. First notice was issued on April 22nd of 2020. And the last inspection was conducted on July 26th of 2021 with a total number of inspections of 4. Next slide. This project is located at the southwest corner of Ellsbury Drive and US Highway 41 North. And it is part of a development services permitted project called Apollo Beach Retail. What you're seeing in this slide is looking easterly for US 41 in the foreground. And this would be, it appears that it is a roadway widening effort that has been, is at a point of being blighted, where the site has been abandoned. Next slide. This is standing further west, looking east along Ellsbury Drive. Project again to our right of the slide, and this is the improvement. Again, the widening effort that is incomplete on Ellsbury Drive. Next slide. Another view of the project. This would be the entry, because this turn lane is created to allow turning into the retail space that has not been completed. Looking south, that is the turn in, which is again incomplete. Next slide. Here is one of the inlet structures that the throats have been poured, but the tops have not. You can see safety issues as it relates to open holes and rebar protruding up, which is again in non-compliance for this roadway widening effort. And the next slide, please. And then this is the, again, looking east along Ellsbury Drive with the unimproved roadway improvement. Next slide. And this would be the last furthest westerly, again, looking east towards 41. This is where the actual roadway widening effort began. You can see the curb placement and, you know, a lot of growth. And again, this is from January 15th, the first inspection that the inspector had made. Next slide. This is just the recent, most current inspection from July 26th of 2021. Kind of the same areas. Okay, apologize for that. Again, the same area along Ellsbury Drive, looking easterly, Highway 41 north as in the foreground. Next slide. I think this is another photograph, same inlet where you don't have any protection. And with the retail space in the foreground, we have, again, now at this point, we have a lot of overgrowth and which is, again, another code violation. Next slide. Same looking easterly along Ellsbury and the entry. Next slide. It's just the posting because the owner was not, so we had to do a post at the site. That's the posting notification for the site. Next slide, please. And then this is looking, again, the Ellsbury Drive, looking westerly up Ellsbury Drive. And you can see we have some cones there now. So there has been some damage to some utility at that driveway. Next slide. And it looks like Public Works has been out there trying to find this isolation valve that had been damaged during the construction. Next slide. And then again, looking easterly along Ellsbury in this blighted area. Next slide. And this is the second inlet along this stretch. A little further up east, again, a protruding rebar and open structure, which is, I'm not sure the elevation on that, probably several feet down with no protection. Next slide. So the staff recommendation for this violation would be there are multiple safety items such as open stormwater inlet structures, exposed steel reinforcement, and overgrowth. These items shall be corrected immediately. The area will be inspected within a week, 7 days for compliance. An inspection coordinated by code enforcement together with building department and the applicant should be performed within 15 days to identify possible safety items on property and provide a report of nonconformities as well as to correct the actions what corrective actions will be taken, indicating the time frame to achieve the compliance. Applicant shall coordinate with Development Services Department to activate any permit that might be inactive so right-of-way work can be performed, and all right-of-way items are incomplete shall be completed as per the approved plans within 30 days.
Excellent. Ms. Baker, for my education, how long is the original permit valid for this violation that's been in place since January of 2020?
The original Development Services permit was issued in June of 2017. And then that would give them a 2-year period to complete the work for the community or the commercial tract. So that would have been, that permit would have expired in that same time frame 2 years later to be, would be
June
mid.
19?
Yes, sir, that is correct.
Okay.
And I mean, this project was an assigned project to one of our inspectors. The project did proceed. Unfortunately, it got to a point and then, for whatever reason, the project was discontinued.
Understand. Okay. Have you had any contact with the owner?
I think that from my understanding, we have had contact, not with the owner, but with the owner's representative, which would be the engineer of record, which would have been the civil engineer that actually originally permitted the project. And evidently, they are also having problems with the owner. So ultimately, the engineer of record that was on file is no longer associated with the project.
Oh, okay. Okay. Either way, this has been going on for quite some time.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. I rule in case ROWV 21004 that based on its presented, I find the property is in violation of Hillsborough County codes or ordinances as staff's presentation. Further, based on the gravity of the violation, the action taken by the violator and the violator's history, concur with staff's recommendations and require the violator to inspect all items that need to be corrected within 7 days for compliance, and inspection coordinated by code enforcement together with the building department and applicant should be performed within 15 days to identify possible safety items on the property and provide a report of nonconformities as well as corrective actions to be taken indicating the time frame to achieve compliance. Applicant shall coordinate with Development Services Department to activate their permit that might be inactive, so right-of-way work can be performed, and all right-of-way items that are incomplete shall be completed as per the approved plans within 30 calendar days. Failure to meet any of the deadlines noted will result in a fine of $200 per day.
Page 15, number 28, case number ROWV 21006. The owner is Roynath and Anita Sahadio. And the location is 6821 South 78th Street. We have service and no one is present.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead, Ms. Baker.
Okay, thank you, Vicki Baker, Hillsborough County Engineering Associate Supervisor, right-of-way, Public Works Construction Services. This case, ROWV-21006, is the owner, Ranath and Anita Sahadio. The violation address is 6821 South 78th Street, Hillsborough County. Violation observed is parking salvaged vehicles within the county rights of way. The ordinance section violated is Hillsborough County Part A, Section 42-62. The first inspection was cataloged on January 14th, 2020 by Jeremy Ratliff. Our first notice went out on August 28th of 2020, with the last inspection conducted on July 22nd, 2021. Total number of inspections is 4. Next slide, please. This is the original inspection. We received salvaged vehicles being staged along the western right-of-way of 78th Street. Next slide. This is just identifying looking at the property to the west, the right-of-way there of 78th Street. This vehicle is being staged and the deterioration of the right-of-way. Next slide. Again, further west, or excuse me, further north, additional vehicles being parked. As you can see, school bus and another car. This again was taken on the initial inspection date. Next slide. At the time that we had to post the notice of hearing, these photographs were taken again, continued staging on July 26th of 2021 along this western right-of-way of 78th Street. U-Haul in the background, another vehicle. It seems like 4 vehicles along the right-of-way damaging the right-of-way. Next slide. And just a little more of a close-up there. Next slide. So the staff recommendation for this case would be discontinue use of the right-of-way for vehicular storage, coordinate with staff and complete the right-of-way permitting that is required to restore the areas that have been impacted, and all items need to be resolved within 30 days.
Excellent. For the inspector, I see Jeremy's still online. Jeremy, you with us?
Yes, sir.
Just a question for you. Is there any change in volume here or in any of your visits? Have there been no violations? Is this a occasional thing, or is this just as many vehicles, just the vehicles are changing every time you come by?
It changes every time that you go by. Some days, honestly, there's nothing. Other days, the salvage vehicles are there. Other times, it could be maybe customers or workers that are parked there. It just comes and goes. You never can tell.
And
It's ongoing. It is ongoing.
Sure. And any conversation or communication with the owner?
I have not. I've sent it over directly to right away, so I believe any conversation was handled by probably Vicki Baker.
Ms. Baker, any conversation with the owner?
I have tried on several occasions to speak with the owner, and he's either absent or unavailable.
Understand. Okay. Excellent. I rule in case ROWV 21006 that based on the evidence presented, I find the property is in violation of Hillsborough County codes or ordinances listed in staff's presentation. Further, based on gravity of the violation, the action taken by the violator and the violator's history concur with staff's recommendations, require the violator to discontinue use of right-of-way for vehicular storage, and to coordinate with staff and complete the right-of-way permitting that is required to restore the areas that have been impacted. All items need to be resolved within 30 calendar days. Failure to meet this deadline will result in a fine of $250 per day. Next case, please.
Number 29, case number ROWV 21007. The owner is Emir Ramirez Fernandez. Location 5842 Moore Loop. We have service and no one is present.
Ms. Baker?
Thank you, Magistrate. Vicki Baker, Engineering Associate Supervisor, Right-of-Way Section, Public Works, Construction Services. Case number ROWV 21007. Owner's name, Emery Ramirez Fernandez, violation address of 5842 Moore Loop, Hillsborough County, Florida. Violation observed as unpermitted storm sewer structures and pipe found in right-of-way, private storm pipes discharging into the right-of-way, and unimproved driveway work. Ordinance violation of Hillsborough County's Code Section 92-22. First inspection was conducted on April 16th, 2020 by Vicki Baker. First notice was sent on September 16th of 2020. Last inspection was conducted on July 26th of 2021. Total number of inspections of 4. This is a historical photograph from Google Maps of March 2019 that shows the address there of the location of violation. You can note that it's a grassed area with roadside ditches and associated driveway. Next slide. Again, that would be just to the east of the location. That on the left, you would see again 2019 Google Maps historical shot that shows the ditch and pipe in place. Next slide. This photograph is done on April 16th of 2020, where you have that same view of the residence to the left, and there has been a structure installed, a paver block installation, and the ditch has been eliminated. And of course, the structure is not to code. Next slide. Again, can you go back one, please? Again, April 16th, 2020. I'm sorry. Go forward, please. There we go. Again, showing the, thank you. Again, showing the residents in the foreground and the front of the, you see that the area has been completely graded and the ditch has been eliminated in front of the residents, much debris and such on site. And then you see the paver blocks in the foreground on the right side. Next slide. One of the structures that has been installed that is not to code and has also been checked by our stormwater team and It's basically what preempted the violation since the resident was in non-compliance. Next slide. This is a view of the residents in the foreground, and you're looking easterly. They did have a retaining wall also constructed, and you can see by the telephone pole the structure where and again, the ditch has been eliminated and the ditch has been piped, which impacts the storm drainage in the area. April 16th of 2020. Next slide. Again, just looking now northerly, the residence is to the right. You can see the wall mailbox, and then how the elevation of the ground has been changed, and fill has been installed, and a pipe installed with the storm box to the right of the wall, or to the left of the wall. Next slide. Now, these are more current photographs taken on July 26th, and you can see the wall has been removed. And I think the resident was trying to come into a compliance, but again, they've added an additional structure in the yard, and then you have the structure that was in some of the original photographs on the initial inspection with the resident's address and a resident's home in the foreground. Next slide. Again, just a little further east on this slide, just showing the no change has occurred to that underground impact and the right-of-way impact. Next slide.
Before you change real quick.
Yes, sir.
No, that's fine. You can go to the next one. Doesn't the property in violation is the one on the left?
That is correct.
So
although
the ditch on the right side and all that stormwater and the paver of the entire property is not, that's the neighbor's responsibility?
Yes, but they have been receptive. They're also in violation, but they've been receptive and they're trying to permit, but we have to decide on this.
Gotcha, I understand.
Okay.
So the only issue we're dealing with is currently left of the driveway.
That's correct, that
And it's
can house.
Excellent. Okay, thank you.
I think it's 5842.
Yeah, got it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Again, looking at the residents, and this is would be their eastern property line. And you can see that they've added concrete and eliminated the side swale in the yard, et cetera. Next slide. And a ditch, of course, the ditch is gone. And this is that second inlet. I don't know exactly what it's certainly not to code. And if you look, you can definitely see the.
Is the grate made out of rebar?
It's a haphazard grate made out of a couple of different types of grates.
Okay.
It's just something that was constructed, and I'm not quite sure why they added this grate. When I looked at it, I didn't see where they had actually penetrated the pipe. I'm thinking something else has been added, and it's probably something from the private property side coming in.
Okay.
I could not, without taking that all apart, could not.
Don't figure out where it goes, right?
I think ultimately we need it back to the original condition.
Sure.
Next slide, please. And then again, showing that the wall's been taken back and that structure is still in place on that western side of the property. Next slide. So the staff recommendation for this case, a magistrate, would be coordinate with staff and complete the right-of-way permitting that is required. Remove all piping and storm structures that are in place within the right-of-way. Restore the right-of-way to its original condition, and all items need to be resolved within 30 days.
Okay, in regards to your recommendation, coordinate with staff and complete right-of-way permitting that is required. Do you foresee that and the actual replacement of or removal or permit of structures, all of that within 30 days, or 30 days for the permitting and 30 days for the removal or restoration of its original condition?
I would say that the 30 days would be in conforming and getting the right-of-way permitting in place so that we can get that permit in place and they can start the work in that right-of-way and get it back restored.
Okay, so 30 days for permitting and 30 days to complete the work or restoration or permit.
That sounds reasonable.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, excellent. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Magistrate.
I rule in case ROWV 21007, that based on the evidence presented, I find the property is in violation of Hillsborough County codes or ordinances as listed in staff's presentation. Further, based on the gravity of the violation, the action taken by the violator and the violator's history, concur with staff's recommendations and require the violator to coordinate with staff and complete the right-of-way permit application within 30 calendar days. And then to remove all piping and storm structures or make modifications based on permit within the right of way within 30 calendar days. Failure to meet either of these timelines result in a fine of $150 per day.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
You said 30 days to coordinate with staff and complete the permitting and 30 days to remove?
Correct.
Is that 30 days after they get the permit?
Yeah,
Or
30 days after receipt of permit to,
that makes a lot more sense.
yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely.
And that concludes the agenda.
Just for clarification on that one, 30 days for permit, 30 days after receipt of permit to complete modifications or removal of all structures back to original condition within 30 calendar days.
Got it.
Okay.
And now that concludes the agenda.
I have a question. We have somebody online for CE 216572,
21.
Louise Rua.
Yep, that is correct. Perez Colon Elimaris.
216572.
Yes,
216572, correct.
I didn't hear it called.
No, I have not been called yet, sir.
I do not have that on my agenda. Is there? 216572.
216572.
And your name, sir?
Luis Rua. The property is in my wife's name, Perez Colon Elimaris.
Bear with us. The ladies are checking.
No problem.
Microphone.
What's the address of your property, sir?
It's 1029 Sonesta Avenue.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that. I couldn't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Not
that
very
better?
well.
Let me know. Test.
We can
I
hear
can
you
hear
just very clear and as loud as you can. Sorry, it might be the connection.
All right, let's try this again. 1029 Sonesta Avenue, Brandon, 33511.
I did. It's 1029 Sonesta, Sonesta Avenue, Brandon.
Okay.
Yes,
Correct, sir? Excellent. Hold on one second. We'll look it up for you.
$1029.
Sonesta.
I don't have a case in the system for that address.
Really? Sir, did you receive a notice or something posted? Oh, you sure did.
Hold it where we can see the case number. See it.
I'm not, can you talk to us while you're holding it up? That way it'll show up on our big screen.
Absolutely. Can you hear me better now?
I can, yes. Keep going. Oh, that was great. Keep talking to me. Tell me your ABCs.
Backwards? CYX.
Sure.
Nah. So this is the third notice. I can give you a case number, CE 216572.
Street tree removal.
Correct.
Mhm.
3 notices.
It's not in the system. Let me check something else.
Got it. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
I have good news and bad news. The bad news is that the folks for landscape have already left the building because they thought all their cases were done.
Where is it?
The good news is that we can't find a violation for you in the system. So either way, they're going to have to recite you, I would guess, to put it back on an agenda. I apologize for you being online today. That's why we missed you. Otherwise, we would have we would have hit you up earlier. So
Well, what
I
if-
don't see another opportunity to resolve this.
Did you get a hearing notice to be at this hearing today?
It says in the letter that if I was not in compliance or if I didn't agree that I could attend this meeting. And I emailed yesterday, I got an email back. I replied to the email address if I should submit my documents, my exhibits, and heard back from anyone. However, I was accepted for the hearing, so which I understand anyone from the Hillsborough County will be able to attend. So that might be what the confliction was.
Gotcha. Yeah, as I said, unfortunately, we don't have anything on the docket for you today.
I do see the case in the natural resources where they keep their documents, but I don't believe they brought it to us yet for a hearing. I don't see any affidavits that would be giving it over to us.
Can we make sure that this gentleman has the information for Ms. Hull and he can reach out to her directly?
Sure.
Yes, Lewis is his name. Yes.
I've called the number, Mr. Hood, several times, but I'm sure he's a very busy man, like the rest of us.
I totally understand. I appreciate your flexibility here. Unfortunately, the good news is you're not on our agenda. So there's, nothing's going to happen here until the next hearing, but it appears that we'll have to notice you for the next agenda. We'll get with Ms. Hull. She's the director of services for the land division in regards to that violation. And we'll get it back on the agenda, but nothing's going to happen to you in the interim. And I apologize for you being online to find out we weren't going to talk to you today.
So good. Save the best for last.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Come out a winner.
Not really if I got to come back. But...
Not yet, but I appreciate it.
All right.
Excellent.
So then just to be clear, I will await a notice for me to actually sign up again and appear my case.
If Krista gives us the case to bring to a hearing, we will send you a notice.
Yeah, it is possible for you to work directly with Krista and resolve this
Right.
before it comes to us. So you want to reach out. Yeah, reach out to her and take care of it that way. And then we might never get to meet again, in which case, thank you for spending the time to hang out with us today and have a great weekend.
It was great, sir. But one more thing, do you have a number that I can reach out to Krista? Is that Ms. Hall?
I have it.
Yes.
813
Yep.
276
Yes.
8356.
All right. So got it. 813-276-8356.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And with that, this meeting is adjourned.